What's going on Facebook? What is going on Unleash CEOs? I hope you all are having a fantastic start to your week. Coming at you guys live today for a little Mindset Monday talk and topic on the theme of content. So, as we dive into things today, for those of you joining me and watching live on this Mindset Monday, drop a hashtag live below and let me know. And if this is not your first Mindset Monday that you've attended here in this group, something that you enjoy showing up to, absorbing the value from, drop a hashtag Mindset Monday below and let me know. And we will get right into today's topic. So some key points I want to go over today that I think ultimately will help many of you with content and kind of shifting your mindset towards an easier way to publish content, write content, and put out content that actually serves a purpose for your audience and actually drives results itself. And I was thinking back to where I was early last year, and I recall the feeling that I had around content itself. I used to post nonstop because I know early on I really wanted to prime my algorithm and get things moving. And I knew that if I could post consistently 7 days a week, that I'd be putting myself in a position to continue to grow my audience, provide value to them consistently, show up for them consistently, and ultimately grow my following and my business as a whole. But through that nonstop posting, I used to struggle to get people to watch my videos, to engage with my content, and to validate what I was putting out. Whether it was me dropping a longer form value post in my profile, me doing a video training or a live training early on in this group, I would always feel so excited before putting out much of my stuff because I spent a lot of time putting it together. I spent a lot of time writing those value posts. I spent a lot of time writing what I felt was a strong lead generation post at the time. Spent a lot of time preparing trainings and videos. And I would feel so excited to put it out, hoping for a bunch of hearts, a bunch of likes, a bunch of comments to validate what I was doing and for my audience to show me, hey, they enjoyed what I put out. I would start to get angry around putting out content itself. I would get upset if I wasn't getting the reactions that I wanted, because I know I spent so much time to get to that point to where I was actually confidently publishing it and sharing it. And that shift really didn't start to take place for me. I didn't start to not care so much about what other people thought about my content. And I didn't care so much about internally what response I would get right away when I put it out until I made this single key shift in my outlook towards content as a whole. Once I made this shift, my approach, my outlook, my results, my positioning, my messaging, everything completely shifted because I was writing content and publishing content out of a completely different lens. And that is the fact that your prospects don't care about you. It's not about you, it's about them. And so early on, I was stuck in the cycle of it just being about me, of it being about what I invested in, what I just learned, where I'm at right now, what results I generated right now. And I thought that would be helpful because I thought if I could just provide value on exactly what I was learning right now, that I would be ultimately serving my audience, providing value to them, and it would lead to breakthroughs for them. And I thought if I shared results on all the time on where I was at now, if I just hit my first 5K month, my first 1K day, my first 10K month, talking more and more about that it would attract more people to me because people want that. And I was trying to coach people on where I was now, those wins, those breakthroughs, those successes, instead of coaching them about the journey itself and sharing where I was at in the journey and how I got to that point, the experiences I had along the way, the stories that I can share along where I was at to where I am now, the breakthroughs that I ultimately achieved to get to that height and to get to that new level. And I was losing sight of the big picture and the main purpose of content. And that's the fact that I'm putting this out for my ideal clients, not to feel good about myself, not for me, for them. And I think an easy way for those of you maybe struggling a little bit to understand this, to explain it further, I like to look at it this way. When it comes to developing skills, each of you developing skills in your business, working to increase those skill sets, grow your business as a whole, grow your following, grow your sales, grow your results. It comes down to having skill sets in the beginning that allow you to make that happen. And usually we're at levels of subpar or below average. We're at average, and then there's excellence. So if me at excellence now with a multi-six-figure business only talked about that excellence, and my ideal clients were at the subpar level or at the average level, I would never really be putting out content that really connected with them. They wouldn't feel heard, they wouldn't feel understood, and I wouldn't achieve the results that I wanted to. But if I flipped and said, you know what, I'm at excellence now, but I wasn't always at excellence. I was once at subpar. So if my ideal client's at subpar, and that's where their skill set is, and that's where they're feeling stuck at, how can I actually speak in a way that is just directed towards them? To show them that they are heard, to show them that I do understand what they're going through, and to show them that I was once there as well. So for those of you struggling to put out content, wondering what to write or what to say, number one, remember that your prospects don't care about you. Your content is there for one reason, and that's for them, not for you. And the first shift to start getting that in place is to focus on talking about your journey, your experiences, your breakthroughs, and how you got to where you are now and how you were once at that subpar point. Not just talking about the tip of the iceberg or the tip of the mountain. Because at the end of the day, our ideal clients really want three things. And if we can accomplish these three things within our content, we're putting ourselves in a position to win as a whole. And that's number one, they want to feel understood. Number two, they want to feel heard or listened to. And number three, they want someone who has gone through what they're going through right now. Not someone who's way 10 steps ahead of them. They want someone that they know has gone through where they were at right now. And even if you are 10 steps ahead of them and you talk a lot about being those 10 steps ahead, the results you're at now, all that stuff, even though you internally know you were once at their point, if you're not talking about that, they can't see it. They just see you at this high level point that you're at now. So it's really, really important to take some time and let this soak in. And remember that when you're putting out content, your job is to not just share your story, but bridge the gap. And show that you're not just putting this content out to puff you up or share your story or just provide value and be the ultimate authority that leads the marketplace in value and content as a whole. It's putting out content that's actually purposeful. Content that actually shows your ideal clients that you have an understanding of where they're at in their journey. That you know what they're feeling right now. And by putting out content that speaks towards that, you're showing them that you understand them. You're showing them that you're listening to what they're saying. And you're showing them that you were not long ago at a point that they're at right now. Because like I said early on, it's just like with me. If I were to sit up here and just talk about hitting 50K months and only talk about the highlight reel of how I'm at the tip of the iceberg now, some of you that have followed me from stage one early last year may remember that, hey, I was at zero early last year and I hit multiple six figures this year, and you know that I was once in your shoes, and I know how to get around that. But new members that just joined this group, if they just see that tip of the iceberg, they'll never know that I was once in the same exact spot that they were. And they'll never know that it really was not that long ago. It was less than a year and a half ago. And the only way for them to know that is if I focus and prioritize on putting that out within my content itself. Sharing stories about where I was at early on. Sharing breakthroughs that I experienced early on in my journey. Putting out things that I know that they'll be able to absorb, relate to, connect to, and ultimately feel. And this is why I talk a lot about authenticity within your content, because when you can put out stuff like this, you're being vulnerable, you're being transparent. If you go today and put out a live video on how you struggled with live videos early on in your journey, that's not related to sales, it's not directly related to business. It's related to one element of the process that you know early on was a fear that you had, that you broke past, that you can speak to because you know many of your ideal clients deal with that same exact fear. So on that topic, I have a challenge for each of you. Find something, if you're a business coach, find something that has nothing to do with business. If you're a fitness coach, find something that has nothing to do with fitness. And this will more than likely be something that's hard for you to talk about, ideally. And do a live video or a post about it. Within that, when you're writing it or when you're making that video, try to find a common connection that relates to your ideal client. So just like I talked about with the live video topic, you guys have heard me talk many times about how I had this fear of live video and how it was really hard for me to get going. And I talked about my exact process as to what I did to break past that fear itself. Now, if I just sat here now and talked about how I'm super comfortable on live, it's the easiest thing for me to do, you would feel further away from me. And you wouldn't know that I once dealt with that fear. Now, it may not be comfortable for me to talk about what I felt early on. It may not feel right for me to be that transparent, but that's what really drives connection between your audience and you, is going a level above and beyond with your authenticity. Sharing stuff that maybe is uncomfortable for you to talk about, that isn't always related to business, that relates to exactly where that ideal client is at on their journey itself. So that's my challenge to you today. Find one topic that you can talk on, ideally nothing to do with the field that you're in. It should be a little bit difficult for you to talk about, possibly related to a fear that you were experiencing early on in your journey, and do a live video or post about it today. Once you do that, come back to this live afterwards and let me know in the comments that you just posted and drop a link to it so I can check it out. And remember, your prospects don't care about you. It's about them. And your job is to show them that they feel understood, that ultimately you're listening to them, and that you once were at the same exact point that they are right now, and you know how to get past that. So with that said, I will wrap up today's Mindset Monday on that topic and that note. If you got value from today's live, be sure to drop a hashtag value below and let me know. And I will close out on that note itself. So I hope you all have a fantastic Monday, great start to your week, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you come back after you complete this challenge today and share with me the post that you put out to your audience. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.